Jai Gurudev. Question. Aspirants often talk of solitude. They require a separate room for their practices wherever they go. In your opinion, how does their contact with other people affect them? Answer. In my opinion, solitude as well as contacts are both required for an aspirant. Spiritual attainments can only be tested when the aspirant comes in contact with others. Naturally, the aspirant thereafter solidifies his achievements. However, it is important that the aspirant is not affected by the outward atmosphere at all. He will simply keep the awareness of these effects so that he is able to provide solutions for others when required. The practices in solitude are necessary primarily at the initial stages, but at later stage it is never that important. What really important is to live in the world and to be beyond it at the same time. Solitude is possible in the forest, the mind, or in the corner of the house. Real solitude lies in the mind alone. When a person is not affected by the outward hustle and bustle, and he is able to maintain the calmness of his mind even while facing disturbances, he surely lives in solitude. It makes no difference whether he is in the forest or home once he has attained this merit. If a person has forcibly kept himself aloof and his mind is full with the thought of the world, he is a first class hypocrite. My Guru Swami Vishnu Tirth Ji Maharaj used to tell an interesting tale about this. There were two friends. They were both following the spiritual course. After some time, one of the friends got married and started to lead the life of a householder. He was following the spiritual course to the extent his worldly duties would permit him. He performed his responsibilities with the sense of duty to fulfill his obligations. The other friend, who had given up the world, lived for some time in some cave of the Himalayas, meditating rigorously. 20 years so passed. The householder became the father of some 5 or 6 children. The secluded one then came down to his old friend and stayed with him. Both were very happy. The recluse was talking very high of his achievements. The householder, on the other hand, simply exclaimed and modestly submitted, "My friend, you are really great. It is wonderful that you have done so much difficult penance. I am an ordinary householder. I hardly have time to take the name of God. I am simply leading a common worldly life." The evening set in. There were prostitutes living in the backside of that house. The attractive sound of songs and dances began to be heard. The mendicant soon expressed that he would not stay there for long. His heart was being carried away by the attractive sounds. The worldly man then stated that in that case the 20 years of rigorous training had really taught his friend nothing. The test of your success lies in the fact that you remain unaffected by all situations. Passions do not move you by distracting your mind from the natural course. This state is attainable by those who constantly keep a watch on themselves. They are always examining their behavior. In our tradition of Shaktipat, except Shri Gangadhar Tirth Ji Maharaj, all had some ashram built, but they were in constant touch with people outside. As long as there are desires, passions, and belongings in the world, duties are there to be discharged. The world will keep appearing and reappearing. Chit will have to be taken beyond, even though the aspirant has already dived deep in the world. Once Chit is purified, realization of real motives is there, and illumination of the self has been an experience. World or no world, it makes no difference. This joint course of aspiration in the Shaktipat system is very important. Even when a person finds his course fully satisfactory, all alone, he should at least once a month sit in a group. When a person says that he does not have a calm mind while sitting in a group, it invariably implies that he is attempting to get the state of mental calm effortfully. This is not as per technique of the system. In brief, neither solitude nor company is self sufficient in aspiration. They should supplement each other. Forlorn travel inward equips a person to lead an energized life. It is like training yourself to lead an effective practical life, which consequently strengthens the spiritual course you have undertaken. Question: what do you think about Shav Sadhana? Would you please throw some light on this system as compared with other methods of aspiration? Shav Sadhana or corpse worship is a tantric way which is generally followed by non worldly people. Such people seek solitude in places like mass burial or cremation grounds and use dead bodies for attaining some miraculous powers. These experiments are horrible, but once the aspirant gets the courage to go through these and many more terrible experiences, some miracles are seen to be performed by them. The most common path of aspiration to all human beings is the practice of Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga means the skilled actions of such a trained mind who is neither attached to his actions nor involved in the enjoyment of the fruit thereof. Such a person maintains equilibrium between his worldly obligations and spiritual aspirations. The system of Shaktipat, which activates inherent Kriya, is indeed the most superior among all the methods prescribed for people in the world. Every system basically aims at awakening the inward power which is generally dormant. Shaktipat begins exactly where other methods end. As regards the comparison of the worldly system and the dead worship, the former is definitely superior and worth recommendation. Question: there are various kinds of thoughts which sometimes lead to a decision and at other times to indecision. The mind gets bewildered and becomes full of sorrow. What do you advise one to do in this state? Answer. Mental determinations take their origin in the underlying tendencies of Chitta. These tendencies give birth to passions. Passions make one inclined, and the inclination give origin to different types of determination. As long as there are seeds of passion, mental fluctuations will result. Whatever the mind decides, it is due to firstly the resolutions resulting out of the incapabilities relating to unfavorable time and circumstances. Secondly, the resolution to do something which is not necessary for the time being. And thirdly, the resolution to do things which will ultimately involve the mind. By uncalled for resolutions, what is defined here is something which you find contrary to your desire for concentration. It may be pointed out here that whenever concentration is achieved effortfully, it will only be transitory. Whenever the sanskars find an outlet, the acquired concentration will vanish. Therefore, it has been advised to first thin out these imprints of the past so that real concentration which results is lasting. With the extinction of effects of the past, purification of mind is faster, with the result being all that the mind resolves or dissolves has no bearing on the progress of the aspirant. Jai Gurudev.